All right, hello team. Here we are, about to get into lesson number 2, Q&A. All right, so if y'all got a chance to look at it, even if you didn't, here we are. We discussed the site plan. Let me put this here. One of the main things about the site plan was, the last time I think, many questions were asked and we discussed things about the different trees that have to come out. We talked about what the site plan is showing us in terms of the existing concrete that was on site, the construction entrance. We had a video on that, how that works. Well, they say construction exit. I keep saying construction entrance. We discussed that. We discussed the topography still. Let me increase it a little bit. We discussed the topography of how the land is increasing, going to the back. We discussed a lot of that. Now, and then we got to the portion where we couldn't really touch any of the trees back here. We talked about the tree save, that orange fence, which was in the video. And then we got to the next phase of the site plan. But before I go, this is Q&A after all. So let's talk about it. Let's
I got a question.
Let's go.
Also, when you see that little hand icon on my
you raise your hand.
Yeah. Okay, so when does the survey turn into the site plan, or because they're using the survey to create the site plan?
Yes.
So basically the survey has what we reviewed last week, and then does the site plan then go into additional details? Is it a higher level? What's the differences?
Okay. So the when it comes to the survey, as you mentioned, we have the canvas to work with for the site plan. When it comes to the site plan, it is more detailed. So each county has their own specifications of what they want in a site plan. Most of them are basic, like the footprint of a house, like what we have here. The footprint of the house has to be your site plan. Your concrete, which they call your impervious areas, your concrete, your solid areas, rain cannot go through it. So your concrete has to be on there. Okay.
So impervious areas means areas where water does not penetrate?
Yes. And there are rules against that too. Like you have so much percentage of a lot that you're able to, cover. Like we can't just go pour concrete all over our lot. They won't allow that. Okay. So we have this right here that they want you to place this, as we discussed, within your setbacks. So we discussed the setbacks, which give us our buildable area. Within the buildable area, when you're coming to do your site plan, they want to see the house. They want to see the concrete, your driveway. In this case, they want to see your apron, how it's going out. We're in a subdivision, so they want us to run the sidewalk as well. They want to see that. DeKalb County has their own codes for driveways and aprons. So in here, you will see it says install new driveway apron per DeKalb County standards. DeKalb wanted that to be in there.
So what's the apron?
So the apron is where, when you're coming in on the street, although this is your lot, the county has a right-of-way, usually like a 5-foot right-of-way. That's where they can run all their cables and stuff, that belongs to them. But this area here is your apron. That's where your driveway, and that's where you enter your driveway. So when you're coming in from the sidewalk, entering in. This little section right here is your apron. So
Okay.
it's curved out and it's sloped down that allows the cars to enter and leave. So that little section is called an apron. I would just share with you that in city of Atlanta, I believe it was city of Atlanta, yes, we had a poor driveway. And I couldn't pour the driveway until the city came and inspected and gave me the okay approval to pour the apron. I could have poured all I want until I got to that point, but I could not pour the apron without the city getting involved. That is their right of way.
Okay.
So that's what an apron is. So for the site plan, you have all these things there. They're also going to want to see your silt fencing, as we shared in the video, as we're showing over here, right? The silt fencing that goes around.
That's in red.
Yes. Around your buildable area, that's your silt fence. Okay. They do want to see the trees that we're not going to cut down. And as we said, in the site plan, part one of our site plan was this. It showed all the trees that we were going to cut, that they're allowing us to cut. If the city decided they don't want us to cut the tree here per se, or here, they would have rejected his plan. Okay. But because he removed trees, the engineer knew that he has to replant a couple of trees to compensate. Okay, so your site plan is going to have all these things. It's going to have the trees that we have to put in, as I mentioned over here, the river birch. So we have 2 of them that we're planting, right? The site plan is also going to show where our cable lines are running. It shows a lot of things. It shows a lot of things. Like I said, we have the survey, and this, for the most part, becomes your site plan. In Union City, they put me through a whole lot just to get a site plan, a whole lot. They weren't just comfortable with this. They wanted like all kinds of ridiculous things. They wanted degrees and angles and geographical stuff. And look, my engineer had to go through a whole lot. So per municipality, they all have different things that they want. But for the most part, you're going to have all these structures that make up the site plan. You know, it shows you the footprint of the house, driveway, you know, even sometimes your sewer connection. City of Atlanta made me do that before. You have to actually show how you were connected to your sewer. DeKalb, remember I told you we were arguing over DeKalb. Well, not you know that, Ayana. We were arguing with DeKalb over the site plan because DeKalb said they want water quality. So for water quality, they wanted us to come here, tie every gutter to this house, every gutter that's coming from the footprint of this house. When rain comes over this house, they wanted to tie all the gutters in and bring it all the way back to this yard. And we will have to put in what is called a flow well. Basically, we would dig a big ditch, drop that flow well in there, put gravel, construction fabric, have an overflow, and then tie all the water lines to one side, to the other side. That way your own backyard becomes like a water drainage system. And we had to fight DeKalb County because we're like, nah, we're in a subdivision. There's manholes, there's storm drains. You know, if you saw some of the video, I showed where we had to cover the storm drain, right? With that black piece of fabric. And so it's like, we have to fight for that. We're still fighting for it for the other lot, but they want different things. But in this case, for the most part, this becomes your site plan that you're going to work off of. Does that answer your question, or there's more?
No, that's great. If anybody don't have any more questions, I'll go to my next one.
Anybody got a question?
Guess not. So, you
Well,
in
let me say something before your question. Y'all do realize the driveway also shows how wide it is too. It talks about a 10-foot concrete driveway.
where you see that at?
Right here. You see my cursor?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it.
Yeah. So that's also on your site plan. So in case you're wondering how big your driveway is supposed to be,
Mhm.
it tells you right here. This is how wide it is. And some of your details will even tell you how thick it should be.
Now, is that a standard size driveway, or is that vary from house to house,
It
county to
varies.
county?
It
Okay.
varies. You know, sometimes I like 12 feet, you know. Some people will like 20 feet if they
Yeah.
can. The interesting, here's one thing to note. An interesting thing about a driveway, it's not affected by your setback.
Right.
Yeah, you can literally pour your driveway beyond your setback up to where your property line is,
Okay.
and it won't affect anything. So even in areas where there are easements, as I was mentioning before in the other video, you can pour concrete in those areas. You just can't put a permanent structure in there. So even if we hit a setback here and we decided, man, we want to make a double wide driveway, run it all the way down, we could.
Mhm.
So
Now, would that be an issue for the HOA?
it might be,
Okay.
definitely might be, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, just like they have control over whether we're gonna do 3-side brick, some
Mhm.
stucco or not. But definitely the HOA will have a say so when it comes to that.
Okay.
Did you want to go to your second question before
Can I have the floor?
everybody good? She can take the next question.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the video, you were going over on the survey, I think you were saying how to get the buildable area using setback. So you did like a measurement of the property boundaries, like one was 108 feet, another one was 112 feet, and then you did some math to get what the buildable area is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Can you
I'll come back to the screen.
Can we revisit that?
We can.
Okay.
So the whole plan was, how do you know how wide you can build your house? How deep you can build your house? How do you know? So yeah, we have a lot, we have an entire lot here. And just because the lot may be 85 feet wide, which is what it was, actually 80 feet. It was 80.42 feet wide
At the top,
at the
right?
top,
Okay.
right here. Right here, 80.42. 80.42. So that's the width of the entire lot. So all we did was take, for argument's sake, we just make it 80 feet. All we did was say, okay, look, we got an 80-foot wide lot. But then we have setbacks. So we're going to determine our buildable area. So before we choose a house, we have to know, sometimes you can go online and pick house plans. And
Yeah.
if you go and pick house plans, they want to know how wide is your house, how deep, what are your dimensions? So you can choose a house that you want that will fit on your property. So if you go there thinking you got 80-foot wide house, and you're going to pick an 80-foot wide house, then you'll build your mansion, you're sadly mistaken, So what you do is you go here and you look for your setbacks. So we're going to start with that 80-foot wide front that we have, that width.
Mm-hmm.
We have side setbacks, which will be on the right side and on the left side. Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll take your 80 feet. We're going to go to the side setback, which is right here. You see it? It's 7.5 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to subtract that from the 80 feet. So what's that give you?
Number.
7.
Well, you at your calculator. You at your computer.
72.5.
Okay. 72 point what?
70.5.
Okay. Then we go to the other side now. Now we're on the other side, and that's another 7.5. So we got to subtract that. So what's that give us?
65.
65. That's your answer. So your house can literally be 65 feet wide. So anything less than 65 feet, up to 65 feet in width as a floor plan will work for you. At least for the front part. It widens out as it goes to the back.
Right.
But for the front part, at least, if you wanted to put your house smack dead in the front at your property line, you can literally get a house plan that's 65 feet wide. And that's the most you can do. And you can do less than that. Okay. But while we're on setbacks, before I do the long way, well, let's do the long way, then I'm gonna talk to you about a setback even further. Because you can change that, by the way. It's not always the case that you have to do that. And I'll talk about it in a second. So then for our front, let's choose this side. We have 154 feet for how deep the lot is. Okay, so that's 154 feet. So now we have to subtract our setbacks. And on here, although we have 154 feet on one side and 150 on the other side, right? Let's just go with a shorter number, the smaller number, 150 feet. Okay. So we'll take this 150 feet and we have to subtract our setbacks. If you look at the front, you got the 150 number?
Yeah.
Okay, now look at the front. You see where it says 22 feet setback? Okay, so that's from the front of the lot to where the house, the buildable area, the house can start.
Right.
So you subtract the 22 feet from your 150 feet. So what's that? Like 128?
128. So for the width, you have to take subtract it from the side setbacks.
Yes.
And then for the, I guess, how deep it'll go from the front or back setback.
No, not all back, front and back.
Front and back. Okay.
So you have to take away the 22 feet and then you have to go to the back
20.
and the back is 20 feet.
Okay.
So you got to
So
subtract.
126.
Exactly. So you got to subtract the whole 42 feet.
Got it.
And that gives you your buildable area. Okay.
So that means we got what, 65 feet width by 126 depth.
No, you should be less than that. You have 150 feet. We're going with a smaller number. So you got to subtract the 22 feet and you got to subtract the 20 feet. So you're subtracting 42 feet. So you're probably around 108.
Wait, what?
So take your 150.
Oh, yeah. My bad.
Okay.
So the depth would be so 65 by 108.
That's, yeah. So if you want to just put a nice big ranch on there, you could literally get you a ranch that wide and that deep. And then you don't have to do a 2-story. You can still get you a nice square footage of a house.
Okay.
I did want to say that when it comes to setbacks, it's not all the way written in stone. Sometimes you can change it. I had to do that at my East Point property. So if the lot, let's say I want to put a house here, but my house is going to exceed my setback by a little bit. In my example in East Point, I had 7 feet setback on each side. but the house I wanted to put there, it pushed my setback to 5 feet. So I had to go back to the city and do what is called a variance. Right. So when you apply for a variance for them to make a change in the standing rule or the standing, whatever the rules are that they have, it has to be voted on. It has to be, you have to bring your reasoning for it. You have to give a good excuse. And then the people who live in the area get to vote on it. So you got to stick up a sign, go for the hearing. Everybody gets to chip in on what they feel. And then when it's done, they vote yeah or nay. If you win, you get it, So in some cases, yes, you are able to do a variance and it can get approved or denied.
Is it worth it ever?
It's worth it. Because, especially if you feel you have a good reason, one, especially if you have plans already, you don't want to have to go and pay thousands of dollars for another set of plans when all it is just, now it's going to take some time, and if it's exactly what you want, let's say it's your forever home. This is what you want. You're going to fight for that. And because you could potentially get it. So why not, before you go spend more money to change it. But once again, if you go through like what we're going through and you get your survey, you already know what kind of house you should build so you can avoid that.
Right.
My situation was a little different. I wanted to build that particular house, whether it was going to conform or not. So it was worth the fight. All right. So I'm gonna get back to any more questions on that? So you good on that now?
Yeah.
You sure?
I put another question, but that's about the building plan. So no, I'm fine.
Yeah. So the building plan will be the next. That'll be Thursday. I'm not gonna drop it today because we don't want to overwhelm everyone. So we're gonna do Thursday. We're gonna drop the building plans, and that's, like I said, that's gonna be a 4-part series because there's gonna be a lot to cover in the building plan. We're gonna cover a lot. We're gonna cover the building plans, reading the building plans, and then breaking down the building plans and actually doing a material list takeoff, of how we get the material list for the building plans. Then we're on site, so we're gonna mix in some videos with it, but definitely it's some important pieces. So we should know a lot of the materials we're ordering. We should know the quantities. So that's gonna take some time, so we're gonna break it down and but we'll learn it. And it's necessary. If you're gonna be building, it's definitely necessary. All right, so let me see. Back to the site plan. Yeah, it was pretty straightforward, but I don't know if there's any more questions. I think we talked about the site plan, this portion of the site plan being just the footprint of the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say I want to send my house that I want to build to my engineer who did the survey. He only needs my footprint or my first floor. He doesn't care about my second floor, none of that. They need the footprint of the first floor because he needs to know where the driveway is going to go, and the layout, so he can make sure that it fits into the plans. I will tell you something, and what is it? The site plan for the basement lot. We have a basement lot. Let me see if I can pull it up. Is it on the basement lot? It's on here. Okay, yeah. So for the basement lot.
Just save me one, please.
All right. So let me get us on this. Let me show you something on the basement lot real quick, y'all. Check it out. Now, if you look at the basement lot,
All right.
the basement lot is what I started out with on the when I was talking about the survey, right? When I did that little video showing you the lot, you see the piece of land.
Yeah.
One of the things when we were working on the basement lot, I think one of my plans, hold on, was it the basement lot? Maybe it's not the basement lot. Maybe it's not I thought it was the basement lot, yeah.
What happened with the plans?
I was thinking there was something here. What was it? There was something that I was trying to do. Maybe it wasn't this. Maybe it wasn't this. But I had some plans that were being drawn. And I had to change those plans because it had exceeded my setbacks. So it wasn't this one. It wasn't this one. I had a plan I was doing for another project, and it had exceeded my setback. I think it's Clayton County. Yes, it's Clayton County. So I'm bringing that up because when I got the plans for Clayton County, which is another project I'm doing, Eric is here. He knows about that too. Well, all of y'all know about it. Y'all know about Clayton County. Y'all went there. Fode, you went there. Ayana, you already looking at it as a potential
What we
agent.
talking about? Hickory Ridge?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So one thing about the Henry County project that all y'all don't know is that the building plan that was done originally, which was a modification of my Union City plan, when you put it on the site plan, it was borderline. It was borderline. We literally had to shrink the house by maybe, I think, like 4 feet in order for us to reach the line. Yo, we couldn't even put, if you see the site plan, we couldn't even put a patio back there. So you will notice that when we do Clayton County, you'll notice that when we finish grading it out, which we're going to be grading it out this week, when you see it that we put on concrete Friday, you will notice that we're going to have just a little 3x3 step. Otherwise, we have to put stepping stones, you know, or something, or pavers. Because remember, once again, the impervious area, right? You can't exceed certain things. So when we hit the mark of the setback at Clayton County, our decision was, okay, let's just go ahead, because they called us and they said, we can't approve this. You have to be within that. So we just amended the plan by 4 feet. And we decided that we just told them we're just going to put some pavers back here. So those doesn't count as part of your impervious area. Because pavers are not impervious. You know, they have gaps between them, or stepping stones or things of that nature, if that makes sense. So yes, you can have situations where you fall. You don't make sense? It doesn't make sense to you?
No.
Okay, what don't you understand about the story?
What's a paver?
Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so you know those shoot, you know what? We online. Let's do it.
It's like a 12 by 12 brick.
That sits on top of the soil?
Yeah.
It's
that you
almost
can
like a
sit-
walking path or something like that?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Like that. You see? Like it could be this, it could be these, like exactly what Eric said. The little concrete pavers blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like that. They look nice.
Mm-hmm.
But
now, what purpose do they serve again?
Well, you have to, you cannot walk out of your house and step on sod or grass.
Okay.
That they won't pass inspection. So when you're in a situation like where we were in, where we're at the setback, you know, we were beyond the setback, so we have to be pushed back to the setback, and that didn't allow us to have a nice porch that we wanted. I mean, a nice patio that we wanted. Putting the pavers there is acceptable because it's not like anything permanent. You know, we just got some pavers there. You can walk on it. If it rains, it doesn't affect anything. You're good. It doesn't change your impervious plan calculation, which was approved on your site plan. You see, so now the inspector can't say, well, you got to resubmit a new site plan. Your numbers are off. What's your question?
So they're not gonna have a backyard at Hickory?
No, you have a backyard.
Mm-hmm.
They have a backyard. The house was too long for our setback.
Mm.
That's for the Union City. I'm only saying that, not Union. That's for the Ellenwood. I'm saying that because all three of y'all know what's up. Y'all know where the Ellenwood is.
Mm-hmm.
My point is that at the backyard, when you go to Ellenwood again and you see, you're going to notice that we're going to pour a small little 3x3.
Okay.
Nothing that's going to get the inspectors, going crazy. But we could have literally put
Not
a
make
bunch
the
of
buyers go crazy either.
yeah, because it's small, I know, but we can put pavers back there and give them a nice patio. We can do that, right?
Oh, okay, I got you.
But it's not going to be like your poured concrete pad, Now, once we out of there with a certificate of occupancy, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with us.
Mm-hmm.
So they can add a porch later.
Yeah, but that's on them, right? If they don't get caught, it's cool. If why they can't be doing that while we're there, because if inspector come through and see them laying the porch back there, they might have something to, they might have to deal with that. But yes, the answer is they can, and there's really no one to stop them.
Okay.
But legally, I can't come in there and be like, advise you to do that. But I'm saying, it's your house. You do what you want to do. So long as inspectors don't get at you, you're good.
Okay. And that red outline, that is the silk fence, right?
That's where your silk fence is gonna be.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. In our case, we didn't go this far with our silk fence. On this subdivision there in Ellenwood, we stopped right around here. It's pretty close. It's pretty close. We stopped right around here, a little bit short. And one thing the inspector said, and he was fine with that, if the ownership, like let's say we have this lot and we have the one next to it, okay? If the ownership is held by the same owner or builder, they don't mind if we eliminate the silk fence between the two properties.
The two joining? Okay.
Yeah, for several reasons. If we're grading both simultaneously, it's easier to go around back and forth, Otherwise, you got to work here, exit here, exit there, do that. Now, it depends where you are too, because you could meet some counties where people can be, they're not too friendly, right? And they will make you go through all that. But DeKalb County, when the inspector came out, we spoke. He was like, look, I'm cool with it so long as it's the same ownership, because you're not encroaching on somebody else's property. So we're cool with that. We'll let you do that. Okay. So that's the site plan. We talked about drainage of the site plan. You understood that part or you didn't see that part?
You could review it.
Okay, so the drainage, okay. We talked about the contours. We talked about this being 756, right? You're about 800 over here in the back, and you're about, was it 786 or something in the front? Like the property drops. It's higher in the back, and then it drops down to the front. Unlike the basement one where we are at the street level and then we're dropping all the way down to the back. This one, the front is actually, at the lower level, and then it increases as it goes back. So what we ended up,
it goes up.
It goes up, exactly. So from the street, it's going up.
Wait, we're back at 4663. Okay.
Yeah, we have 4663. And based on the contours of what we learned before, you can see the figures, your numbers here.
Mm-hmm.
And it also shows you which way it's sloping. You can see you're at 785, 86, 84, 82, 83, 80. So not only is it going up as it goes back, it's also sloping this way. So if you're facing the property, it goes up, but it's sloping to the left.
So that means the water will kind of go away from the house.
Yes, that means the water will go, well, the
Mhm.
water will come down because it's sloping down, but water will also go to the left if you're facing the property because it's higher here and the numbers go down here, right? So you got 795, 796, 789. So it's kind of sloping this way. It's not much of a big deal, but the neighbor came out to complain that water's coming into her side. And what the inspector told her was, well, your house is where it is. You know, our land is higher. There's really nothing we can do about that, right? They should have put something, they should have graded her lot better.
So does she want you to do something?
She does, but she can't force me to. And also the inspector said they definitely call a lot and complain about everything. So they're the ones that call
Next to 4663?
Yes, to the left of them, the left of us, yes.
Oh my
They're the reason the inspector's been out every time. And he
Hmm.
calls me and he talks to me, and you know, we're pretty cool. So he's like, look, he told them there's nothing that we can do, you know. And he told me, he said, don't, because I was gonna do something for her. I was like, look, towards the end when we're grading, I'll probably put something back here, put a French drain to help catch the water and do what DeKalb County wants us to do, which is create a drainage on your site. I was willing to do that for her. And he told me, don't bother, don't touch it, because she's the kind of person that complains a lot. Who knows what she'll say next, you know? So I agree with that. I said, yeah, you know what, let me leave that alone. So I stopped messing with her. But what he did say is, per our plan, because everything that he's going to stick me on has to be based on this plan. So we had to get out there. I know earlier I put a video in the group a little while back that, hey, the inspector came out, it's about to rain, he wants us to get a silt fencing up. So we went on and did it. But he comes and he looks at this and he says, okay, this is your silt fence. I need your tree save because it's here. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. One thing he pointed out, he said, based on this, you're going to do your site, you're going to grade it such that the drain is going this way. Now, you see that, right? It says provide positive
drainage.
Exactly. Provide positive drainage around the house, right there. And he called me out on that. Okay. He said, you have to do that. So in this case, we have no other choice but to do that. And so he looks at this and he's like, oh, wait a minute. You gotta put your drainage the way this says. So when we grade this thing, when we finally grade this property, we have to make sure that we're making a curve this way to come around, and we're making a curve this way to come around. Okay.
So you got to do like a trench?
It's more like a swell.
Underground.
No. It's the grade. Like you have to create a swell with your grading. So when we grade it out, like up here is higher, we already cut this whole lot down. We moved a lot of dirt out because it was sitting kind of high. As I said, it's increases up, you know. So we have to cut this down so we can create a pad rather, so we can put the house on it so it's level. And also not to have an extremely steep driveway. So there's some space back here between the house and the silt fence before the property goes up some more. The lot goes up again. So water's gonna come down here. And then we're gonna grade it so that the grade is gonna go this way and it's gonna go that way. It's gonna drain this way. And we're gonna grade it so that it goes this way. So,
That'll eliminate her problem.
not really, because her problem starts way back here.
Okay.
The property's pretty deep. It goes way, way back. So after these trees and stuff, it goes way back. So for her, water's coming down. And then it's coming down here because everything here and next door is all above her grade. We're like about maybe 3-4 feet almost higher than she is.
Oh.
So
So
she
these S's is like the way that is going to be the
that's the direction they wanted to go.
Okay.
So he's expecting to see that. He told me that. We had our conversation. He said, yep, I see it. So on our final grade, when we're grading this place before we put our sod down, he's gonna want to see that we have it. Like if he comes out there, he wants to know that, okay, when water comes down here, we're gonna pitch the grade around the house this way, and we're gonna pitch the grade around the house this way. So in other words, water shouldn't just be coming back and sitting at the back of the house.
Okay.
Yeah, so all these are things that have to be considered. So you can't look at these and just overlook it, because they're gonna hold you, pardon me, they're gonna, let me see here. They're gonna hold you, oh, you're good? It's my daughter. They're gonna hold you responsible to that, you know, for that. So that's gonna be what you have to do. And he's definitely a stickler for that. You know, he's been in the neighborhood for a long time, and he's like, look, I'm sticking to that. This is what I'm looking for from you. And I was like, okay, that's what we'll do. So he will be looking for that.
All right.
So wherever you may be at, just make sure if you do everything according to your plan, you should be all right. You know, even if somebody's messing with you on the site, if everything is according to this, they can't mess with you. Let's see, what else we got? So what I've done, y'all, is I've sent y'all the copies of the plans. And then you can take your time to review it. I think Foday, you were saying you want to print it out. I said FedEx Kinko's, you can print them out. Take your time and study it, because, you know, you got to look at it as if you're going to build your house for the first time and you're going through these steps. You got to be able to take the plans and go through it and understand everything. And that's what we're doing. You got to be able to, because these are the steps that you're going to take anyway. And you got to be able to break all that down, understand it, and then know what it means. And then, so now when you proceed to do what you have to do, you know, you're not in the blind. You know exactly what it should be, so that if you hire a contractor, eventually you will be contractors. You would know this, you would do this. But if you have to hire someone, they can't play with you, because you know exactly what should be happening. And don't get it twisted. Just because someone come out and say they're a contractor don't mean they know this stuff. You're going to get hit with inspections and fees and stop work orders, and you know what I'm saying? You got people that use people, you know about that.
I literally got my guy, he had a new construction and he didn't know the process. And it took us from April, and we just got a certificate of occupancy today.
Wow, I want to say congratulations, but
the one in Stone in Southland. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Just got it today.
Wow.
Because he didn't know what he didn't know, and his GC was.
And part of what y'all had an issue with was the water quality.
The water quality, the water wells. And had his GC should have known that it's an established subdivision, so it was already there.
See, so now you know.
Now I know.
Yeah. So everybody don't know, and it can be a headache big time. So, you know, and we're gonna go through all of it. So, you know, we're here from beginning to end. We're gonna go through every phase. We're gonna build these houses together. Y'all gonna know everything. There's a lot of things that happens on the site that you have to be there to see. You know, little nuances, little inspectors that want certain things. Some counties want extra things. Some counties,
who's the county that's the most meticulous?
It depends. Everybody's afraid of East Point. Everybody's afraid of East Point. But I also noticed that Union City don't play, because Union City, they sub it out to a third party company, and that's Safe Build, and they don't play. So they're like, you know, they're gonna be sticklers to you
Yeah,
have to know
'cause
you
that's
have to know your rules, you have to know everything. Clayton County don't play. Their inspectors, look, you're gonna see when we do the framing. They have nail patterns that you're supposed to use when you frame. And I'm just jumping the gun here a little bit, but you know, nail patterns are a lot of City of Atlanta don't care about that. You know, you could just finish framing your house and put a house wrap and you're good. Clayton County, not so much. They want to see your nail patterns. So they're gonna come and inspect all your nails after you put the sheathing on your house to make sure your patterns are good. And then at the garage, there's a specific pattern your garage has to have. If you don't know that pattern, they're gonna fail you every time. And they're not about to tell you either. Your job is to know what that pattern is. So it's like,
So
yes,
how do you get, like, if you're going to a different county, how do you get informed on what their specifications are?
each county gives you their inspection request items. So they let you know, okay, these are the things that we inspect. Okay, so some sites are like, yeah, we do combination inspections, meaning we're gonna inspect your plumbing, HVAC, and electrical all at the same time, and your framing at the same time. Other counties are like, we're gonna do plumbing, HVAC, electrical separately, and then we're gonna do your framing separately. You know, and then like I said, some places are like, okay, we're gonna do house wrap, and we don't care about your sheathing nail patterns. And some are like, nah, we want to see your nail pattern.
Right.
Some are like, don't put your roof on your house unless I see the underlayment that you put down and that you sealed all your valleys and things like that before you put your shingles on it. East Point is like that. You put your roofing on without them inspecting what's underneath it, they were going to make you tear off all your shingles and redo it. And they will do it. They've done it. So every county, if you don't know, you just ask them. When you get that permit, you ask them, what are the items that they inspect? And they have to let you know what it is.
Okay.
All right. So anybody else? I think we're running on the 45-minute mark of recording. Any more questions? Good to go. So look, take a minute to, you know, I decided that, well, we decided before you got on, Eric, we decided that we're going to do to give enough time for people, because you know everybody is busy, and this is things that we have to learn and need to learn. I'm not going to rush it so much. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put content out on Thursdays. That way you have time to review it, and then we're going to review it on Mondays. So we got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then on Monday we're going to do it live like we're doing right now. And I think that's what we'll do, and it'll give us all time to go over the data. So what that means is, although the next thing that I'm gonna send out is about the building plan, and we're gonna go deep into the building plan, and I'm breaking that into 4 sections, I may really do it into 3, maybe 3 or 2 sections, make them 45 minutes long to an hour long. And then the Q&A is where, like, when we have these lives, we can really break it down and get into more detail. Like when we start talking about calculations, how to measure everything, what does it mean to be on center? You know, what are the 2x6s, 2x4s, 2x8s? What are your joists? What are your eye joists? What are your web trusses? What are your joist hangers? You know, all these things that you need to know. So within 2 weeks' time, we're gonna start doing site visits. So even if we're still on that segment of the training, it's fine. We're not going to let that stop us from the site visits as well. So what it will mean is that we may be doing both things simultaneously, or one thing is reinforcing the other. We got classroom, which is this, the videos, the questions, and then we got the site where we get to go over everything and really go into detail about what's happening. And, you know, I will attempt to capture the site for those that can't be there. But it's nothing like being there where you get your real questions answered, and we're gonna hit it from all the way from the beginning, deep down in the ground, all the way to the end, and we get a CO. One quick note: CO means Certificate of Occupancy. It only happens with new construction. If you have a house, for instance, Fode, I know you do a lot of rehabs. If you have a house that you're renovating, it is a certificate of completion. There's two different things. Once a house has a certificate of occupancy, it means it can be occupied. The only reason that house will need a second certificate of occupancy is if something happens for it to lose its occupancy. You get it? So once a house has a certificate of occupancy, if you want to do some renovations to it, you already have it's already closed out. You already have what you need to, hold on 1 second. All right, so you already have what you need to occupy it. So then when you renovate it, it's just completion. But let's say it burns down to the ground and then you have to like rebuild it. You know, something happens when you got to tear it down. Once it's uninhabitable, you lose that certificate of occupancy. So then once you build it back again, it becomes certificate of occupancy. Just something to throw out there. So that's it. Any more questions?
So once you're doing all of this, are you insuring everything? Because just like how you said, it can burn down. So everything is insured.
Yes. So all builders, for every project, we carry builder's risk. That's the lender requires it. Now, I just met with my one of the agents today, and he was talking about those $1 million properties that they're building. Half of his clients are building cash. And the interesting thing is lenders make you do that, but as a builder, you should know, even if somebody's building cash, they need to get a builder's risk insurance. Yeah. And especially if you're going to spend cash like that, you need to get one too to protect yourself. But definitely got to get your builder's risk insurance. That's a great question. That's how you insure it. That way, in case, and then you got to get the insurance for the amount of what it's going to cost the house, what it's going to cost to build the house. So in case anything happens, a freak accident, a comet come from space, burn your thing down, I don't know, just anything that destroys that property, the builder's risk insurance will cover that and pay for it to all be done. In cases where there's theft, I think Fode, you mentioned that some people have some people don't want to put an HVAC unit out yet. And I said, there's a reason for that. They don't want the theft, you know? So, but in cases where even theft occurs, you are able to call your builder's risk insurance company for them to replace it. We've had cases where people come and steal copper. You know, it was real rampant back in the day. It depends where you are. So when they rip out your whole system, your HVAC unit, your line sets, your electrical, and you got to spend 15, 20 grand to put it back, you ain't trying to do that out of pocket. So yes, you always got to carry builder's risk insurance to cover you for all those things.
That
was a good question. All right. So so far so good. I've sent y'all each the plans to review and the building plans as well. Go over the building plans, review it, because I'm going to send the video Thursday. When you get a chance, just open it up on your computer or your phone, whatever. Just go through it, figure it out. But like, okay, this is what I see. You may have some questions. I even see some things on the plan. I'm like, man, I could have done this different. Or I could have did this different, you know?
So can you flag those to discuss too?
What's that?
The things that you would do different.
That's just my personal taste. I'm gonna let y'all review the plan and see which.
But I personally wouldn't know enough to say, maybe after the 4th or 5th go round, then I'd be like, probably could have did that. But at this point, I guess it would be helpful to know what are those things that I wouldn't know or to look at when I see it, like improvements.
Nah.
Don't be like that.
Nah, because
nah,
it's a preference thing. It's a preference thing. It's a preference thing. Nothing major. But what it is we're gonna go over it, and you're gonna know exactly what's gonna be built. You know, I want, you know, a long time ago, man. One of my mentors, he passed away, Lenny. He always used to tell me, he used to call me Neo, like the Matrix, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, all right, Neo. He said, one day you'll be able to see through walls. You know, he said, you'll be able to see through walls. He said, I could sit on my deathbed right here, which he was on his deathbed. He said, I could troubleshoot a house and I don't have to be there. And it's true. You know, people call me about things and it's like, it hits you like a photographic memory, because once you're able to build a house from ground up several times, you see through all that. You could see a house standing and you could literally visualize exactly all the components of this house, how it's supposed to go, what it took, what's involved, even to the point of troubleshooting. You know, and we're going to learn a lot of things through this process that's going to help you see that. So yeah, you're right. After your third, fourth, fifth time around, it's almost easy. Like you can see anything and you see right through it. You know where everything is, you know what's going on, you know? So as we go through it and you get comfortable with it, you know, now you'll be able to just basically design your own houses, change some things around, and, you know it's all good. And you be comfortable doing it.
I got a question more so about the mentorship program. So since we're going through this with the current houses that are being built, what will be the approach when the next phase or the round of houses start being built in the subdivision for the mentorship? Because now it's, for some of us, it's like the beginning phase, but now we're going to basically do it again. So how would you structure it when we hit that part of it? You don't have to answer it right now, but
yeah, no, I'm gonna tell you on those parts, there's gonna be more of, that's when I'm putting you out to the test more. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, now I'm showing you, because there's gonna be more projects being built. And this program doesn't just start and end with these. Everything that's coming, you know, to the table, to the front, everything that I'm touching, y'all gonna be on it. So there's gonna come to the point where I'm kind of pushing y'all. I'm expecting y'all to tell me certain things about this, certain things about that. You know, like, you need to know this stuff. We're gonna do takeoff plans. We're gonna visit the sites. We're gonna go over certain things. There's different nuances to the building depending on what you're building. Whether you're building a basement or whether you're building something else. And like I said, something always comes up. We have to be able to find a way around it. And we discuss it. We discuss why we have to do this, why this mistake was made, and how not to make it again. You know, how to catch things ahead of time. So every project is going to be more of an enforcement to what we're doing. And you need to do more and more of these. So if we end up building 10 houses, 15, 20 houses, so be it. All that is experience under your belt. But I guarantee you, once you're done, you're not going to be afraid of nothing. You could literally be like, yeah, I could take that on. Or when you see that lot that's sloping like crazy and everybody's afraid of it, you're not afraid to even invest and buy it, because you're like, you know what? We've been there, done that.
Right.
That's what helps me. I get a lot of lots, nobody want to touch it. It doesn't faze me, because I've been there, done it. I know what the worst of it could be. So once you start doing those things, you know, it's going to elevate you. And yes, moving forward, after we do the lessons, we're just going to be reinforcing them. So all we're going to have is a new plan, a new layout, a new this. We're going to go over it and keep reinforcing it. But a lot of it is going to end up being sight. And then we're going to be posting pictures and videos as we go, you know, per project. So you're going through it, you did it, you've seen it, jogs your memory. And then also, you know, it feels good to know y'all are a part of these 10 houses. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what it's going to be.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Let's do it, man. Look, appreciate your time. It's been good. So we're going to do it Thursdays. We're going to drop it. And then Mondays, Q&A.
We're going to review it.
All right. And then bring your questions, review the plans, because you may have some things you want to bring up, bring it. Yeah, y'all going to know how to calculate, break everything. Another thing, when it comes to certain segments, I call that the advanced segment. After we finish this first wave, when it comes to the next wave, we're going to do more advanced stuff. So like, you're not even going to be talking to me. I'm going to interview people and start bringing them in. I'm going to bring the electricians to actually break down the electrical part. You know what I'm saying? Of how they do everything, what's what. I'm going to bring the HVAC owner to break it in. I'm going to bring the plumbing guy, you know. I'm going to bring everybody in on the advanced session so that you're getting to learn each trade, you know, as to what it should be.
So building on.
Yeah, I
But
even have an inspector that I'm gonna bring on board who can break more things down. So this is
we
the
should know
beginning.
every step.
What's that?
I said that way we know every step.
You're gonna know every step,
So
and not
yeah,
just for me. You're gonna know
exactly.
every step from the pros and and those particular disciplines. So
Yeah.
that's
Because
the
my
next
goal
phase.
is to be able to audit and ensure quality with the builders or the subcontractors.
Yeah.
And that'll help. That'll help because
Yeah.
if you know what you're doing, then the people who's coming in, they can't just tell you anything.
But they
Because
will try.
everybody's gonna
They
try it.
will.
Everybody's gonna try it, but as long as you got knowledge, they'll slack off. They're like, oh, wait a minute,
Mhm.
this person know what he's talking about. That's good right there.
True indeed.
All right. Well, I guess I'll talk to you guys next week.
All right. So let
All
me
right.
go ahead and get this here. Where am I at? Am I gonna stop my here I am. I guess that's it, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing muted out. Let me stop recording. If I can, where my record at? There we go.
All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.